So I'm going to do a video on my review of the ZOEVA brushes, which I just bought like 3 weeks ago. Basically, I bought these brushes because they are shorter than the ones that I have. So basically, I got like 2 sets of brushes. One is for the face, another one is for the eyes. And I actually got an extra soft concealer brush because the concealer brush that they have is a buffer, which I'm going to show you later on. The concealer brush actually comes with this plastic bag, so both the face brush and eye brushes that I have comes with their own bags, which is the same size. This is how the interior looks like. This is like a small zipper. I love the small zipper because I use this space to put like plastics. So each of my face brushes, because they only come with a bag, I need something to put them, like to hold them upwards like this way. I got this glass from Daiso. It's just $5. Same with this, I got this $5 and it holds really well. They're glasses. So I'm going to start with the face brush. This is a 106 powder brush. I like it. It's soft and it's really fluffy and it moves according to how you want it to be, and it's just the right size and shape. It practically is just a good face brush. Next is the 102 Silk Finish brush. I'm not really used to a foundation brush that is so dense. Like, this is a dome shape and it's so dense. I probably need to use this for like a thicker, a much more coverage on the face, but I won't use this every day. For a very thin skin like mine, I probably won't use this as often as every day. And the next brush I'm going to talk about is my blush brush. This is literally the size of my cheeks. Can you see that? Like literally the size of my cheeks and my cheekbone area. I use this as a cheek powder brush and I use it as like a bronzer. Just fits right into the size of my temples and the size of my cheeks, or like the size of my jawline. So the next brush is the 122 Petite Stippling. I love the size of this too. This is literally like this shape of my cheeks. And I use this with my cream to powder blusher or cream blushes. It works well with me. I just do like a circular motion and the color is right there already. So this is a good stippling brush as a cream blusher. I think it'd be great for like foundations too. The next brush is the number 105 Luxe Highlight. I do not use this for a highlight. I use this as like a powder, like smaller areas. I just like to roll. I love this brush. The next I'm going to review is this 142 Concealer Buffer. It's like the same thing I said about this Silk Finish brush. I'm not used to poking something so dense onto my skin. So I use this like for my nose, to shape my nose. It's the perfect size for the nose. And it works well with powders and cream. And the next I'm going to talk about this 144 Soft Concealer. It is not in the face set. It's just so big. I'm not used to this, but it is soft. It is like really soft when you bend it. Because it's so big size, you can just, I use this for my eyeshadow base, and because this is so big, instead of like 6 strokes, I get this done by like 3 strokes. And the coverage is perfect. It's very soft. The effect is soft. It gives a more even finish to the skin. I've even used this for like my pimples or my blemishes, like at the side of my nose, and I do not find any problems with such a huge concealer brush. It really is able to help you blend it, and it looks very natural. So my favorite concealer brush. So the next brush is the eye brushes. There are a total of 12 brushes in this very set, and it has the same concealer buffer brush. which I'm going to talk later. How did I use this different from the other concealer buffer brush from the face brush set. So the first brush I'm going to start with is the 234 Luxe Smoky Shader. This is probably the brush that I use the most often. I always reach out for this brush first to pack in like my eyeshadow colors. And what this actually does is that it gives a very sheer finishing to my eyeshadow regardless how pigmented the color is. This gives naturally a very sheer color. I think it's more fluffier at the tip, and it kind of allows, naturally it just helps you to blend out all the harsh lines while you're doing this. And when you pack in the colors, I mean, if you pack in the colors, you probably would see a harsh line where you pack it, but basically while you're doing this, like this, while you're doing a packing and you're like spreading your colors, you basically have this part help you to blend out the harsh lines, which is perfect. So the next brush I'm going to talk about is the 322 Brown Line Brush. Now this brush, I feel that this thing here is a little bit too thick, but you need to get used to the brush. Especially this size of the brush is a bit too wide for my eyebrows. I'm not used to it the first time when I use it because I'm used to a much smaller size of brush. It's probably not this wide, it's probably like this wide. And it kind of makes my eyebrow looks roundish instead of a little bit angular. But now that I know how to control this brow line brush, it's perfect. I mean, it's great. And at first I thought that this length is really big. Like I always do this to my eyebrows. I mean, people will probably just do this to the eyebrows, but I do this most of the time. I'm really used to doing like this, but this brush needs practicing, and you probably need to just use this and pack it like this way and try to move it upwards instead of moving directly this way. So the next brush is the 228 Crease Brush. I use this like a powder underneath my eyes because this is small enough and it's fluffy. But I can tell you that I can feel the difference because this is not exactly a powder brush material, because the shape of this brush is a little pointy, and when you kind of do like a crease shadow, it really, you feel that you are able to control the kind of crease that this crease brush is creating. I'm seriously, because this is what it feels like. Like you can feel that you're able to do that crease easily with this brush. But I use it like underneath my eyes. So this is a perfect crease brush. I don't have a crease though, but this is perfect. So the next brush I'm going to talk about is the 142 Concealer Buffer. So this is the same brush from my face brush. You see, I have two of the same brush, but I use this differently. I use this for my cream eyeshadow, and I'm so in love with this. It gives like a very soft finishing on the eye area, and at the same time it kind of blends out whatever the corners of my eyes, and it blends so perfectly. I love the dome shape, and it's perfect for my eyes. So these are like the 4 eye brushes that I use the most often, so often. So that's why I'm actually mentioning them first. So the next brush I'm going to talk about is the 231 Luxe Petite Crease. So another crease brush. I have like a bigger crease brush, and now I have a smaller crease brush. Now I really like this because it feels a bit more dense at the tip of this brush, and it feels a little bit more harder, stiff at this pointy part of the brush, and it kind of gives you a more controlled sort of application of the brush. Like really, when you hold this, I can just feel like where the exactly that shadow is going when I hold this brush, and really I can feel it gives you a very well-controlled brush when you hold this. Seriously, I need somebody with a crease so I can just work with this brush more often. But nonetheless, I actually use this brush like for darkening the darker parts, because this is like pencil type and it's stiff at this point, so I'm able to do this. Or sometimes I need to define those shadows underneath my eyes. I need to brush off some of it. Just do something like this. I keep brushing this part with loose powder, and it kind of rubs off the other part very precisely, a little bit more precisely, and it gives a perfect kind of brush if you want a controlled small area crease, not crease, but this is just good. The next brush I use is the 230 Luxe pencil brush. So this is like a little bit more smaller version of the crease brush. This is a pencil brush again. At the tip here, I love the tips, a little more stiff and dense. I like to use this because it's so small. I like to use it like at the inner corner of my eyes to do some kind of highlighting color. Highlighting color, like in the inner corner of my eyes, and it serves just well. But I could do more with just this brush. Next is this smudger brush in 226. I'm supposed to be able to smudge it. I think this is a perfect shape because it's so tapered. See, this is so tapered, and you can just smudge like smaller areas like this, and it's very controlled. I think that the smudging process is much more controlled. I even use this brush like to intensify like underneath my eyes, or to really shape an eyeshadow, cat eye with this brush, because it's so dense at the same time. I create a small cat eye shadow at the back of my eyes. So I like this brush too. So the next brush I'm going to talk about is this Luxe Soft Definer. I think this is like a really good smudging brush. Like, give it a very soft finishing. I love the effect. I love the feeling of this brush, but I don't use this as much as the other brushes. The next brush is the Luxe Define Crease. Now I actually use this to look at it. So I actually use this as like softening the edges, and it does so well. The next is the 317 Wing Liner. I have tried this to wing an eye, and it does give a very sharp like kind of wing, but you have to be very careful when you draw the inner part of your eyeliner, which brings me to the next eyeliner brush. This is the next eyeliner brush that I was talking about, this 315 Fine Liner. It's like a crooked thing. I feel that because the brush is so small, it cannot hold much product. Like, you have to go back to the product, you're gonna draw, and then you're gonna go back, and you're gonna draw, and my product kind of becomes dry faster with this brush. I do find it such an ease when I draw a fine line in the outer corner of my eyes like this. This is a great brush, like to really touch up where you need to touch up. The next brush is, which is also the last brush I'm going to review, is the 237 Detail Shader. I love this brush. Even though it's really small and I don't use such a small brush anymore, but it does give that detail on the eyes, and because it's a little bit thicker from these brushes that I have. This is like a harder type of brush compared to these kind of brushes. This kind of gives like a really intense kind of color. It works very well with my cream eyeliners. All in all, I actually got these brushes is about $5.75. I know it's selling here locally, but it's always sold out. So I had no choice. I love the brushes and I really can't wait to try them out. So I went to the initial site to buy them. Do leave a comment below if you also have your own ZOEVA brushes, and let me know what you think about your ZOEVA brushes. And I hope you like this video, and I'll see you again next time. Bye!